cooking. Bring the top a little over. There you go.
What kind of juice is that? I said, what kind of juice is that?
Chick-fil-A.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to another episode of Above Average Black Men. Yours truly, Chris Bender Sr.
Devin Pender, we're here to empower, inspire, uplift the community, and also reminder, like, follow, subscribe, share, comment, interact with us. You know, we're on all platforms, A2BM Above Average Black Men.
Yeah, man, we rocking and rolling. Chris is not with us again. He's traveling. So we wish him the best of luck.
Yeah, he's the lucky one.
Yeah. Yeah, man. He's going out and gonna try his hand at some comedy in Cali.
Yeah.
And some other things. So it's good to experience something. But today's topic, go right into this, is it's twofold. When's enough money enough? And does money corrupt? You know, do you believe money corrupts, man?
All right. Start off, I would definitely, just to give a general, I like lists and definitions. Money is an item or medium of exchange that is widely accepted for payments of goods and services and the repayment of debts. So, first question, like you said, do you think money changes you? Is that the first question?
No, and when is enough enough?
When is enough enough? That's tough. For a single person, like just use an example for me, I feel like there is a limit that would quantify, being enough. But I feel like it's different if you have a family,
Mm-hmm.
If you have a family, you have a wife, you have kids, your kids may have kids. You kind of want to leave them something, You want to leave something behind, leave a legacy, You want to make sure they go to the best school or get the best education possible, be able to have the things that you might not have had growing up. So I feel like, the older you get, the more people you have to support. I don't think there is, a quantifiable number that would be enough for a family versus yourself.
What's up, Wayne? How's it going, man? See, I disagree. I think you do reach a point where, and it's it for everybody, but enough is enough. And where this came from, I was watching Tyreek Hill, who was, Miami Dolphins, and he wants to get out of Miami. So people are like, why you want to get out? You came here because you got your bag, you wanted your bag. And he says, yeah, I got my bag. But, I want to win. I came from this organization where it wasn't a question of us making the playoffs. It was whether we go in the Super Bowl or not. So now I'm in an organization where I don't even know if we didn't make the playoffs. You don't even know who the quarterback will be because Tua keeps getting his
uncertainties.
Yeah, and then so I was watching not debate, but the lively discussion between Keyshawn Johnson and Michael Irvin. And Michael Irvin is all about, the bag and everything. And Keyshawn Johnson said something very right. He said, you were one team your whole career. And once y'all started winning, y'all kept winning. He said, but he remembers leaving the Cowboys going to the Jets. And that was a big, huge difference. He had his money, but he wasn't winning. So I think that's where the question came from for me. Is there ever such thing as enough money? And then does money corrupt? Because you see some people get money and they kind of go crazy. So if I go back to where do I think when is enough, I think it's different for everybody. But I think if you have obtained happiness, and you have what you need, and that's being taken care of for a long period of time, I'm cool with that. If I had $1 million, I'm not gonna say I don't know if I would change my lifestyle. I would think I wouldn't, but like $84 million. I couldn't spend. I couldn't spend it in a lifetime. And I'm sure some people could.
I was about to say, people, do you hear about those lottery winners? Once they get a certain amount of money, 500 million. Yeah, but I'm gonna end up broke too. So you can go through it.
But see that's not. Then at that rate, there's never enough money. Because no matter what somebody gives you, you'll continue to blow. But and I'm not saying be cheap, but if you're fiscally responsible, like for instance, Tyreek Hill, you're already a millionaire.
Yeah, like 10 kids.
Yeah, well, you're already a millionaire. So when is enough enough? It's the same thing. Some of these guys, man, who just they want the money, they chase the money, but they never win. And then when they retire, they regret it. Because some guys get rings and stuff. And so I'm using sports as one example. Chris and I were talking about this last night, and we were saying the same thing. It happens in business too, when people just change jobs, chasing the dollars, and you never find happiness. But at some point, you know what your success looks like. At some point, you got to figure out what's more important. And I think as long as you chase money, I don't know if you'll truly be happy. It'll be temporary, but as long as you're chasing money, you're gonna miss some things.
That's interesting. So you don't think the time period in life is different as well too? Like, you know what I mean? Like I said, for instance, like the example I brought up, if you got a whole family, I feel like there can never be enough because you want to make sure your family is comfortable as well as you.
But why couldn't it be enough though?
Kids are expensive.
Yeah, but
things are expensive. So you wouldn't want to be in a situation where you have X amount of dollars, or there isn't like a cap on it or anything. The wife can get whatever she wants. If something happens, you're able to cover it for your kids.
Yeah, but that okay, I get that. But at what point is enough enough? Like for instance, Michael Jordan has enough money. He is generational wealth. And he's doing Michael Jordan, that's fine. But some of the things he sacrificed, relationship, some things he gave up on the way he is, because I just think you have to be careful with that because, if money is your prime motivator, you miss out on stuff like family, relationships. There's a lot of things you miss out chasing dollars. I think most people chase dollars are not, and you see it in Hollywood all the time. They chase some money, but they're still not happy. So there has to be a balance. Because if there's never enough money, you're constantly chasing. And don't get me wrong, I like money, obviously, and I like having my needs met like everybody else. But I'm not in that situation where I can say enough money. But I think there's a point where and I agree with you. Depends on where you are in life, but I think there's a point where you have to say, I have enough. Where I'm stable, I created generational wealth. To your point, what more can I do? Work on a third generation? I think at some point, yeah. Like, I'm not picking on Kirk Cousins, but you signed a deal for $84 million guaranteed money. Then you go to another team and sign a deal, guaranteed money. And I give him credit because he's his own agent.
Yeah. So a team got to give it to him though.
Yeah, I'm not knocking the team, but I'm saying, so when is enough enough? To when do you start saying I want to win? Because the name of the game, you play sports, the money helps, but you play to win. Everybody in football wants to get that Super Bowl ring, man. Everybody in basketball wants to walk away with the championship trophy, man. And just look at some of the greatest players, man, who didn't win a ring.
I will say this, and I heard Gilbert Arenas say this before, and I know he's not the best person to really quote in society, but you could buy a ring.
But it's not the same. And that's from somebody. But I remember watching that, but that's from somebody who's never won one. So you can say that.
That's true.
You can say that. And I remember watching that. I remember when they were talking about it, and I remember somebody told them that, yeah, you could buy anything, but it's different from winning one. It's different from being out there building. Even if you're on a bench on a team, it's different from winning one than buying one. To me, that tells you how shallow he is as a player.
Yeah.
Because you want to win a chip. You don't want to buy a chip. First of all, everybody know you bought the ring because they know you don't win. So what's the point?
Your whole career is on.
Yeah, everybody know you bought. So but you play to win. So to me, that just shows you, how, I don't know, I'm not gonna say loser, but a non-winner would say that. But you get guys like Allen Iverson, who really, he wouldn't consider buying a ring, and it wouldn't mean to say, because he truly loves the game and he wants to be at the top of the mountain. It was Julius Erving for a long time until he finally got it. There's a bunch of guys who, I know Dominique Wilkins would love to get a ring. He got money to buy a ring. Charles Barkley, yeah. But those guys, they die hard players. They love the game. So for somebody to me saying, that's like when I was playing, I might hate that, and you win the championship. Of course, somebody can buy the trophy, but everybody know you were on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody know, and that's not the same comparison as the NBA, but people know, and you know. Even if you got around a bunch of people who didn't know, and you talk about it, you know you didn't play,
Mm-hmm.
so it doesn't have the same value. So I think that's what you play the game for, and I think it's a little different in business because in business you want to find a balance because you want to be happy. You don't want to neglect your family always chasing money. You got to be careful because it's a balance. Money is a good thing. I'm not saying money is a bad thing, but you want to make sure you have a healthy balance. And I think guys just like Ben Simmons. He got money, but he dude is miserable.
I'm about to say, I'm sure he regrets a lot of.
Yeah. So and you play, and see that's the other side we get into that with money corrupts, but you play the game to win. You don't spend all your life training and preparing, what I mean, to do all this great stuff to not win, at least not try to win. I mean, you won by getting into the NBA, but I don't know anybody at any level who playing does not desire to win the championship.
I feel like that's more common now than it was back then. But like I said, we can get into that later. A quick question: Do you think there's like a numerical like amount, like a specific amount that you're like, all right, it could be different for everyone. So I would just ask, like, what do you think for you? Because I'm looking at this number right here. According to research, by the way, by Gold Bank Rates, a salary of $88,935 is the minimum required to achieve life satisfaction in America.
I would debate that.
Yeah,
I would debate
that. Had to come out.
But see, this depends on who you are and what your goals are. Because if your goal is to live in the suburbs and live in a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 house, and you want to drive a new model car, that ain't gonna cut it. That's his realization of it all. Because you gotta remember, if you have little kids, you're paying like $300 a week for an infant to go to child care. So what's that, like $1,200 a month just for one kid? So imagine if you got 2 or 3 kids and then you paying a mortgage. So that's eating into that, man. So I mean, I think if you're single, not even I don't know, but if you're single and you have no bills, yeah. But I think as far as like if you got a family or something, no. But then it's different for everybody. Like for me, look, man, if I got $1 million, I could work it. I could work it. You give me $1 million, I could work it. $84 million, and this is gonna sound crazy because then it's a lot of problems coming. Because everybody your friend.
Different level of problems.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I could do it, but sensibly, no, I couldn't spend $84 million in my lifetime and not responsibly. Now, if I went out there and started doing kind of crazy stuff.
It's like it solves a lot of the current problems you have, but people don't realize that amount of money also brings a lot of new problems that you're not used to.
I mean, but does it really solve problems? It pays bills. It pays bills.
That's a problem out here.
But now you worry about, do they like me? Do they like me for my money?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's trying to sell you something. Family members come out the woodwork. So I think, but it's different. Like, Wayne may say, look, I need $5 million. And that's okay. But if you tell me you need $5 million and now you're single and you buying a 25-room mansion and you got 10 cars, no, you don't. You desire those things. You don't need those things. You know what I mean? That means a lot. I think that factors into the equation. And most people, and you mentioned the lottery winners, they want the money, but they're not prepared to handle it correctly. Because like 80% of lottery winners go broke.
I thought it was higher than that.
Because they take their money, man, and a lot of them think it's a lot of money, but you got to pay taxes.
I was about to say, people don't realize the government takes money out first.
Taxes.
Yeah.
Got to pay taxes,
So,
man.
So I just
think,
cut in half already.
Right. So I think, it's different for everybody. But I think for the most part, I do think and it's again different. You do reach your point where enough is enough. Where you're at the point, man, where now you're just stacking money, don't stop stacking money, that you're going to leave to somebody else who probably won't value it, so they just going to spend it.
Well, you would hope the person you're leaving to or the people you're leaving to will value it.
You would, but not in every case. But in a lot of cases, people who don't work for stuff don't value it.
Well, that's another good question. Where does the value of money come from? Maybe specifically in your life, or you have any examples. But the value of money, where does that come from, or what does that mean to you?
Man, for me, it's a couple things. One, the value comes from because when I was a kid, I didn't have much. We weren't dirt farmer poor. Red clay dirt Georgia poor. We weren't exactly well off. So money was scarce. I wasn't going to the barber shop every 2 weeks. I couldn't just buy sneakers. What I mean? I couldn't. There was $5. There were things I couldn't do. And again, we did some things. I wasn't poor, like I was bankrupt poor, but we didn't have the money flowing to do the things that I always wanted to do. So that factored into it. So that was one of my goals. One of my goals was I want to make sure I have enough money so I'll be able to provide a better lifestyle than I have for my kids. That was one of my goals. So I think value came with that. The value comes from when you work for it. When you work for me, I work hard and I look at like, man, I like my company. You look at like, I did that. I put in hard work. I earned that. And there's nothing like it. I think that helped establish the value. People who don't work hard, it's easier to blow because you didn't work for it. You didn't put blood, sweat, and tears to get it. So you think you grow on trees because somebody just hands it to you. So I think that's partly where the value comes from. And then I think the older you get, for me, the value changes. Because now I look at things like, okay, most of the stuff that at this stage of the game, when you start to get in the 60s and 70s, you buy stuff that could conceivably outlast you. Because so you're just gonna leave it to somebody else anyway. So I mean that's just me. Some people may look at it differently. I would rather own my house, than have all these cars and I still got to pay the mortgage and stuff for my house. That's how I think. I'm working hard trying to become debt free. So I value that. Some people don't. Some people don't care, man. Go to grave, man, because I got this car, I got this truck, I got this. There's only one of you. I think, and you see it a lot in the NFL, man, where guys, don't value money.
When you say that, it reminds me of that documentary. Yeah, it was on Netflix. What is it called? Broke, something like that. That's what when you said that. This made me think of that. Like the amount of people, like you seen growing up, you would think like, oh, they're gonna be rich forever, and to hear like a lot of them go bankrupt within like the first couple years of retirement.
Yeah, there's a guy that played for the Detroit Lions, and he got cut, and they cut him a check for $60,000. His final check. On the way home, he stops and buys what's some big Hummer. Go figure. But that's the other side of it. You have nothing, and then you get money, and you think it's never going to run out, and eventually it does. Because if you live in paycheck to paycheck, you may be making 6 figures, but you're living paycheck to paycheck. You got a bunch of expenses, man. I think that happens to a lot of people at all levels. My level too. Probably more so at our level because we can't pay cash for a lot of stuff. We have to either charge it or lay it away, or we got to take out a note.
It's crazy. That is the thing they kind of mentioned during the documentary. Is they were saying like once you retire, the problem is a lot of these people keep the same spending habits like they were when they were playing, because when you're playing, you're getting paid almost every other week. You got per diem, this and that. But when you stop playing, I mean, you only get one payment a year. And that's just.
But I was watching this film with a bunch of NFL players, and a couple of them said one thing, that was true. He said the biggest problem you have is you look around the locker room and you're trying to compete with the other guys. Who got the latest Jordans? Who got the latest bronze? Who got something like maybe a limited pair of sneakers come out, and you set them out this way everybody can see them on purpose. And you create that. You make all kind of noise and you pull up with your car. And it creates this air of competition. And so now I'm in a spending spree. But the problem with it is, if you've been in the league and you're a star, you have more money to spend than those other guys. It's like when I was watching another thing I was watching, because I watch a lot of these documentaries, and they were talking about a couple guys were talking about hanging out with Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And he spent money like it's nothing. And they trying to keep up.
Paul Crawford said that.
Yeah, and they trying to keep up, man, and you don't have that kind of money. So again, for Michael Jordan, he had it like that. Everybody didn't. But I think some of those guys probably had enough, but they pissed it away trying to be like somebody else. And again, if somebody says $84 million is enough, more power to them.
100 million.
But yeah, I mean, it could be. I don't know. Maybe it's 100 million. I don't know for somebody. Would I need 100 million? No, I know I wouldn't need 100. I wouldn't turn it down. But no, I wouldn't need 100 million. You know, I mean, if somebody asks you right now to just give me a number that you think, 25 mil, I would say. But that wouldn't even be me spending it all. Because I'm not going to go out and build a 40-room house, have 6 cars. I'm not going to do that. It's changed my life.
I say 100.
Because we are different places. We have different places.
100 is a great number. And really say you can do it, though. No one's saying you got to get the biggest house. No one's saying you got to build a house.
If you're getting $100 million, the average person is going to have a lifestyle of $100 million. That's just the reality. Mm-hmm. And you can say it when you don't have it and say that. But if you got $100 million, you're not buying no Volkswagen Bug.
But that actually goes into the next question: does money corrupt you? You hear that a lot. I feel like that question just gets thrown out a lot in general in society.
I say no.
I would.
Nope. I say no.
Money makes you more of who you already are.
See, that's what I agree with. That part I agree with. Money does. Money makes you who you already are. I don't think people kill me when they say money corrupts, because it's not the money; it's what you do with the money, how you handle the money.
Because a lot of people out here who they have not had money all their life, but they were always egotistical, or they were always needy.
Yeah.
So it's like once they get money, once they get to a certain point, it just gets amplified more.
And see, I think that's it. I think it's the same thing with alcohol. People says I got drunk and I didn't. No, you don't make up stuff because you had alcohol or because you do what's in you. Now it may give you the courage to do it, and I think money provides. I think we all have something inside us that we just so share. We do. We all have some secret desires or things that we have inside that we haven't told anybody. And a lot of us haven't acted on it because we just wasn't in a position to do it. But people have, you have money. Money kind of, it's in some circles is power.
It definitely opens up a lot of different doors and avenues to different things you may have not been privy to before.
Well, I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I would never say it doesn't.
And if you're not like mentally and physically strong enough, where you have the willpower to kind of remain yourself or know what you're like, know what you're not going to be about, then definitely, I feel like money can corrupt you in the worst way possible.
See, I don't think money corrupts you. I think money only highlights the things that are already in you. Money provides you access to the things you couldn't do before, you can do now. I don't think money gives you new ideas. I don't think it changes your personality. It's in you. Like some guy, they got money, they got arrogant. Yeah, they just, that was in them though. The money just drew it out. So I don't think money corrupts. I think it's people who corrupts and what you do with the money.
I'm so just again reading this article here real fast. Of course, it said according to recent set of 4 studies conducted by researchers at the University of Utah's David Eckley School of Business. Mm-hmm. The answer is yes. The empirical tests, first of their kind, go deeper than the notion of overt greed, showing a link between money and corruption.
So what you're saying, money is see. Money can't make you do something that's not within you. You know what I mean? It has to be in you. If money makes you be honest, then you were a dishonest person. You just didn't get money to become dishonest. Money just highlighted, people saw it. If money says money makes me arrogant, no, it's not the money. I already had that arrogance. Now I just got something to boost my confidence to act, so people can now see that I'm arrogant. I don't think money gives you anything that you don't have. I think it's the same thing. Like I said, people who drink or smoke and do something, that's not a character for me. It was because I know the alcohol or whatever you use just highlighted what's already in you. It gave you the courage or the confidence to act upon it. And I think it's the same thing with money. You know, I don't think money itself corrupts. I think it just helps people tap into what's there already.
So what about the person that they may not be inherently greedy or inherently needy. They may just be naive. You know, once they got money, they think like, oh, this is just how things are supposed to go. You know.
Yeah, I mean, and that's very true. That's very true. But my question in that situation would be, you know, you got to kind of dig a little deeper with the person, see what's wrong. Like somebody that's naive, maybe, but like if you got low self-esteem, you buy stuff because you think it's gonna make people look at you different. That's naive. People don't like you, still they don't like you. They may think it now because you got money. You know, just because you buy and put on a $1,000 suit or $800 suit, it's not gonna change somebody's. You know, somebody's opinion. It's not gonna change. You know, so there is a certain amount of I think people are naive when they get their hands on money because they think it's going to change things for them. You know, it's not going to make you any more, you know, give you any more manners. It's not going to make you any smarter. It may get you into different places because you have money, but it won't keep you there.
Yeah, you never hear the story about people getting money and becoming nicer. You know.
I mean, see, I think you don't hear about it because it's not a good story. It's a feel good story. But there's people out there who, you know, who's done it, who've gotten money and maybe hooked up a homeless person or did something to help someone else or helped their entire family. There's people out there, but nobody wants to hear that in this society. You know, they want to hear the person that's greedy, the person that cut everybody off, you know, the person that just turned his back on this community. You know, but I think and then again, it goes back to what you consider money. Because there's people who make $88,000 a year who gives back to the community. You know, who make $50,000 a year, they find a way to give back to the community. You know, so I think again it goes back to what's relative to the individual.
And then you know, it's of course a list guy again. It says, and I want to get your opinion on this. It says money can corrupt people in several ways. Power and privilege. Power can alter self-perception, leading to feelings of exceptionality and reduced empathy. Moral choices. Faced with moral choices, people may prioritize their own interests over others. Influence on decisions. You said that earlier. Donating a lot of money to campaigns can influence decisions made by political members. Attitudes and behaviors. Money affects attitudes and behaviors, leading to corruption. I mean, it's kind of like what you said.
I mean, I would also say it also uncovers what's there. Mm-hmm. I think it kind of like it gives you courage. You know, like it used to be a show called The Beverly Hillbillies. I don't know if you ever saw it. It was a show called The Beverly Hillbillies. And they were this crew, people from the mountains, man. They discovered oil, so they moved to Beverly Hills and the mansion and everything. But they were still the Beverly Hillbillies. They still dressed like they did. They cooked possum. They actually still live like they were in the mountains. You know, money didn't change them. You know, money didn't change them. I mean, that's who they were. You know, so I think for some people they're like that. Like there's some NFL players or all sports, but I think it's NFL players because you hear about all the time who, you know, like there's a guy who played for the Jets. He's a millionaire. Went to University of Pennsylvania, graduated. I can't think of his name while I was there. He lived in his mom's basement and drove the same car he had when he was in college. He's a millionaire now, man. You know,
about.
Yeah, I can't think of his name. So you hear those stories, man. Everybody doesn't get money and go and buy 12 cars.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. Just hearing the difference between some of these athletes. You hear stories like that, or you know, Kawhi Leonard driving the same Jeep that he drove when he was at San Diego, or Ocho Cinco living in the Bengals Stadium for his first couple years just to save up money, even though you could get an apartment. You hear stuff like that, and you hear stories like athletes like that. Those athletes are going to be okay forever.
It's funny because I don't know if you know who Adrian Dantley is.
Yeah.
We know he's a crossing guard.
I heard Carmelo talking about
and everybody thinks he's a crossing guard because he's broke. He's not broke. The guy's a millionaire. He's doing something he loves to do. And he can afford to do it. Mm-hmm. But the assumption is that he was broke. You know, this guy was one of, you know, he wasn't Steph Curry. He's one of the greatest scorers. He's one of the great scorers who played the game of basketball. You know, so, but he's doing what he loves to do. You know, Junior Bridgman, who played for the Milwaukee Bucks, is one of the wealthiest people and he played when they weren't making that kind of money. But he invested his money. He gave each of his kids a company for their birthday.
That's awesome.
When he turned 21, he invested his money. He bought franchises, did different things, man. So when everybody was out partying and buying stuff, he was investing his money.
That's actually really awesome. That's so dope to give your kids a business.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of you do hear a lot of stories like that of athletes. Like they say, Adrian Dantley is probably like one of the richest NBA players of all time.
In fact,
so was Hakeem Olajuwon too.
And they weren't making a lot of money back then.
Mm-hmm.
And Junior Bridges he was the sixth man. They were making a couple $100,000. I mean, I don't want to sound like it's not, but compared to the days NBA, they're making $700,000 is nothing today. I mean, I think the league minimum is more than that now. But these guys were able to take their money, invest their money, and they had enough money to do the regular stuff.
Now, in terms of that, we get to, you see the contracts today across all various different sports.
Yeah.
And, but you also hear the stories that, like you said, back then, they weren't making that much money, but it seems like the work that they put in to maintain a certain level of greatness was there versus today, where it's like you see a lot of players once they get that first big contract, it seems like you look at Zion Williamson. He's a perfect example. It's like he had all that promise. Like you said earlier, a lot of these athletes work so hard. From junior high school, college, your first couple years in the league, you're trying to establish yourself. It's like once you get that big deal, now all this other stuff comes out.
Well,
pretty much pissing it away.
First of all, a lot of money is guaranteed now. Wasn't a lot of guaranteed money back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, you earned your contract. Now you get contracts on potential. What somebody sits back and forecasts, that you can be. And, Patrick Mahomes is a perfect example. Everybody called Andy Reid and Can. He's crazy for drafting him now. They list all these other quarterbacks he should take. Big mouth Stephen A. Smith, he's never going to be any good. And everybody, well, I think it's a little different today. But he had to perform to get it. But higher draft picks is on potential. And you get a lot of guys like Ben Simmons. It's based on potential, what you can be. Yeah, he can be better than LeBron James. And he probably could be. But they didn't count on the lack of work model. There's a bunch of guys I can name. Warren Marble was supposed to be the next Michael Jordan. I think he had a cup of coffee in the NBA. But back then, they got standard contracts, and they earned it. They had incentives for rebounds, steals, whatever. They earned the money. Now, like I said, it's like, hey, And there were guys who came in kind of who Magic Johnson and Larry Bird changed it because they got better TV deals because those two guys, man. And, more TV money came in, and more TV money come in, more people advertise. So that money starts to come in. And, the more the NBA is on TV, the more people familiarize themselves with the players. So now you can get players to do commercials to help you sell your product. They said Michael Jordan used to be in the weight room and he'd be there for hours after he's done because they'd be lined up to bring him ideas, about shoes or whatever it was. So that all that made the game different. Pro athletes weren't in a lot of commercials. They weren't. I mean, especially basketball players.
It's different now. I was just at the gym. I just saw Jordan Love, CJ Stroud, all these people in commercials now.
Well, you're gonna see them in football because football is whether people want to admit
especially this time of year.
And it's not even this time of year. Football has more black quarterbacks than they've ever had before. If you go back and think about it, man, you got that's playing now.
Starting.
You got Lamar Jackson. You got Jalen Hurts. You got Patrick Mahomes. You got Jordan. Well, he just got knocked out with Jordan Love.
Yeah, CJ Stroud.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, that's most of the quarterbacks.
Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, So if you look at who's left, you got Jared Goff, you got Josh Allen, and then everybody is black.
Right, that's it. Wow.
But you got Stratford. Eagles probably going, you got Stratford in for now, but you got to figure out. And then, I was laughing because I was talking to somebody and I said the same thing. The Giants are probably going to draft Deion Sanders because the only team in the division who had a black quarterback. So the game is changing. So you want to see those guys on TV because now they appeal to different people. They pray. Before they, Reggie White, nah, put that aside. We don't need it. Now you got, Strauss. He got hurt. He in the middle of the field, praying. Jaden Daniels every time he comes to the game because now they appeal to another audience.
Or even in basketball, Jaden Ivey, he plays for the Pistons, young shooting guard. He's always talking about Jesus and everything. Michael Porter Jr. has a podcast. He's a huge Christian. Did not know that.
But see, it's different now. So and now you're going to see those guys because and NBA's trying to tap into other markets. But I remember when Reggie White and they wouldn't talk to him, because of that. He used to crack a joke like, yeah, that's why he played so hard because then they had to come talk to him. He got 4 or 5 sacks and then he could proclaim Jesus. And Dawkins used to say it all the time, and people didn't really want to, but now it's common practice, man. And again, but it's driven by money. And it's not driven by all of a sudden America as a social conscience or religious conscience. It's driven by money.
It's like Tim Tebow.
And even with that, how much money is enough money that you got these networks, man, just raking it in, man. And Tim Tebow was different because I think Tim Tebow was, I thought he was a little overrated in college.
He had a lot of great players around him and a great coach.
Yeah, but in college, it's different in college too. You get in the pros, man. Those guys you run over in college, you're not running over in the pros. And that even especially now, like when he was there, maybe a little bit now, especially now because man, they grown men now. I mean, look at Jalen Carter.
A lot of them dudes are stronger. These
don't get a basketball.
4-4s.
Yeah, so I think but I just thought he was not in a bad way. I just thought he was overrated. Yeah. I appreciate that he shared the gospel with John 3:16. So I appreciate all that. But I think what people fail to realize is, and we'll get back to the money topic, it's a team game.
Yeah.
If you put somebody in a position where they succeed, it's not always about talent.
Mm-hmm.
Just get the ball, just be capable, get the ball to this person, But again, it comes back to money. All comes back to money.
Yeah, back to the money thing. Like when you hear these certain situations of like, these players doing these crazy things, once they do get the money, you think of John Moran a year ago. I brought up Zion Williamson, Ben Simmons. How do people? It seems like, and I'm not saying this is the case for John Moran. How do people get so
They didn't get like that.
Complacent.
They didn't get like
I'll say that.
It's immaturity. And they didn't get like that. They've been like that. Money just highlighted it. Because it's funny because when guys do something in the NBA, and for instance, a guy in the NBA will get caught, say he's just for sexual abuse or something like that. Then all of a sudden they found something he did in college that's similar. When he was in college. So, a lot of it has been there because he was big man on campus, because he was such a valuable asset. You just didn't hear about it. Let's cover it out.
It's like Ben Simmons when he didn't play in the NIT.
Yeah.
His freshman year of college. And I feel like that right there should have known. If you knew that, then you knew years down the line he was going to skip practice and skip all these games because he was called out by Embiid and his coach. And that should have told you that was.
He didn't even tell us he was leaving.
Oh yeah, he just stopped. He just stopped showing up.
So I think but see money. Now see for him, he knew he was going to get the bag. Because that's what young people say. He knew it. And he probably thought. And I don't know. I would love to sit down and have a conversation with him. Some people think because you get the bag, that means you really, really good. No, the bag is based on people project you to be that good. That's still hard work that you have to do. I think that's the other part why I say money does corrupt, because I think some people do become complacent. Now, again, let me take it back. Money gives you the ability. I said this, I was talking to somebody today because I was asking questions about this. We always talk about the podcast, and I always say the same thing. If you put me and you put yourself in a situation, you 16, 17, I give you 18 years old in college, 19 years old, and you come into $40 million. It's your money. Nobody can tell you how to spend it. It's your money. How mature you want to be? You don't get mature because you got $40 million. If you're immature, you're still immature. Now you're immature for $40 million instead of being broke. I think that's the other side of the coin when it comes to money. Maturity has a lot to do with it. Some people think, I got money, I got a bottomless pit.
Not realizing it can all end one day. Easily.
But then it goes back to how you view life. And that's a whole different show. Some people think, yo, man, I'm supposed to live my life 200 miles an hour. Why am I worried about the future? When I'm going, I'm gone. There's people who think like that.
But that goes back to my first point. Is what's enough money? Because if you're thinking like that, oh, you only got one life to live. When you want to make sure that you're doing the most maximizing your potential, your talents, to get as much money as you can, so you can pass it down to maybe your kids, your grandkids, your great grandkids. Generational wealth.
Nah, you want to create. For me, I do want to create generational wealth. You do, but I'm not. I'm not driving myself crazy trying to give my kids $5 million each, or $40 million. I'm not. If it happens, it happens. I do believe in creating generational wealth, and you do the best you can, but not at the point of stressing yourself out, driving yourself crazy, or you compromising yourself. Hence, we talk about money. Does money make us do corrupt us? I think you got to find a balance. Money is nice. We need money to survive. Without money, we don't eat, we don't live indoors. I get it. But if you have too much of a value on money, you're always chasing it. And then money becomes your God, because now I'm going to do whatever it takes to get this money, whatever it takes to keep the money. Which means most of the time I'm probably not going to be too, I'm not sharing too much. Mm-hmm. That's another side of the coin. So it varies. It varies. But I think, again, it goes back to like for me, where I'm at right now, house we paid for it about 4 years. So it's be enough money would be to pay the house off. Like if I got the money tomorrow, it would pay the house off, and then the little balances I got, nothing, zero them all out. And then I would invest it, and I would live off the interest. And I would invest it in such a way so there's something going for each one of y'all. Each one of y'all getting a little, taste of the honey. So I get that. But I wasn't like, man, give me $100 million. What am I going to do with $100 million?
You can do a lot with $100 million.
Yeah, but what? I mean, what are you going to do that's not going to create more issues? Like, I'm downsizing. I wouldn't buy a bigger house. I would downsize. If I got a new car, I would get a new car. I don't need 4 or 5 new cars. Can't drive 4 or 5 new cars.
One every day of the week.
You could.
I get it.
Some people do it. Some people do it, but for me, that's not me. That's not me. I mean, I would probably break my rule and spend $85,000 for a car right now. I'm like, there's no way. But I probably would because then you get the cash.
Quick question: does money, give you more influence over others?
Yeah, most definitely, man. Not everybody, but yeah, there's some people who respect money and material things more than they respect people. They do. And that's in all ethnicities. There's some people out there who.
Why is that like a thing though? Why is it seems like money is put on a certain pedestal.
When you don't have it? Yeah. And then there's some people who think rich people are better than them. They do. There's some rich people who think they're better than everybody. So I think, that's age-old. That's been going on, forever, for history, throughout history, man. People with money is put on a higher status. Society recognizes people with money. More so they do with people, they have access to more stuff than we do. And they could pay for it.
But it seems like people equate,
intelligence, pedigree.
Having money, that means, you're the smartest person, you're the wisest person. Either it could be in politics or anything, in any aspect of life of giving advice, that person must be the most qualified person to do it. Where did that come from? Because oftentimes when you look at it, the people with the most money, if they're not in business, obviously, are probably the most desperate people.
Money equal for a lot of people. Not for me. Money is equated to status. How much money I have puts me in a different group of people. Mm-hmm. Now instead of hanging around the people on the public golf course, I'm on the private golf course.
It don't sound that bad.
I'm just saying, as opposed to me, going to the car wash, I got somebody coming to my house privately washing my stuff, You know, all the stuff I used to do, I got somebody doing. You know, I'm not going to cut my grass. I'm going to hire service to cut my grass. You know, I'm not going to, you know, why am I washing my clothes, man? I get the maids come in and wash the clothes and make the bed. You know, for some people, it's a status to be able to say that. You know, it's all about status. But the problem when you say it's about status, man, more times than not, people treat you differently because they respect the status and not you.
That's deep. That's real deep. And another question here. Since when did, the abundance of money start to give, or start to mean that you're giving more power? If that makes sense.
Well, man, I think it's always been there.
Or would you rather have the power?
I think it's always been there. If you go back through times, man, you had, kings and lords, people, who own people and own lands because they have money. They could get away with certain things because they had money. That poor people couldn't get away with. I think now it's magnified more because of social media and the media. You can show things, man. You could be broke as a bum. But get you a nice outfit, get on social media and put some money all over the place, folks think you're rich. And then famous people, there are some famous people who are arrogant and cocky. You hang around them, you see them, so you think that's the way all people, and all of them don't, but you think that's the way all people act like that. And it's not. But money is a status, man.
That is very interesting.
Well, not for us, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. You never know. One day, hey, listen, we might make it to 84 mil or 100 mil.
Yeah, but it's not going. To me, it doesn't change. Who you are should be who you are. That's what our friends believe. Who you are should be who you are. It shouldn't be, now all of a sudden it's a thing that's going viral because the Ravens. Who were the Ravens playing?
This week.
They were playing somebody.
Or last week.
I think it happened last week. They were playing somebody. They got a rookie offensive lineman. He walks up to the guy on the team and says, "Okay,
I'm a nobody." The Browns.
Yeah, I'm a nobody, but I'm a nobody. And the guy starts telling you somebody.
That's Myles Garrett.
Yeah. Yeah. And he was the guy who told you, you are somebody. But that's the mindset of people, man. Because I just got here, man. Nobody knows my name. You're a millionaire. You're somebody. I'm a nobody. Because people think like that.
Yeah, Myles Garrett had to tell him, like, bro, you about to go to the playoffs. You one of the best teams. You in this league. You're somebody.
But it goes back to what you think status is. Mekhi Beckham for the Eagles cried like a baby when they won the playoffs.
Who?
Mekhi Beckham, the big guy, cried like a baby when they won the playoffs. And because a year ago he didn't think he was going to be in football anymore. The Jets were calling him a bust. Wasted first round pick. Yeah, now dude playing Pro Bowl football, man. He playing the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, one of the best teams in the league.
And the Jets are nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it goes back to you got to believe in yourself and not believe what people say about you. Because had he believed that he was a mess, he was a wreck, he wasn't going to make it, he wouldn't have made it.
Yeah, in terms of money, I feel like a lot of it is, and you probably mentioned this before, it's definitely rooted in your upbringing.
Oh yeah.
If you're raised with certain morals, certain standards, I don't believe there's any amount of money that can change that. Like, do you believe that money can? We talked about it.
I'm a Kinsey Cup.
we talked about it, impacting you for the negative. But is there a way that it can amplify some of your positive traits, for the better?
Yeah, it can. There's people who get money like a lot of NBA players that nobody talks about. They do a lot of good, man. Jalen Rose has a school.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about LeBron James, but Jalen Rose is doing the same thing.
Yeah, he's been doing that.
There's a lot of guys around the NBA doing the same thing, man, who donate money. There's a lot of guys in the NFL, man, who do certain things. They're not out there advertising, taking the cameras because they do it from their heart. But yeah, I mean, there's people who get money and they do good stuff with it.
It's like Shaq, he always talked about he grew up with nothing. You never seen him himself post him at Walmart giving stuff away, but you hear of him doing that a lot.
Yeah, you do. You do. And I think that's ultra important.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's ultra important, man, that you do it. I think my grandma used to always say a closed fist, a closed hand, you can't receive anything because it's always closed so tight. So I think when you have it, a percentage of it, you should be, You should be a philanthropist with it. You should help people. I'm not saying give it all away. Again, I'll make sure that's clear, but you should. And there's a lot of football players you just don't know. You never hear about them. You never hear
They
about
don't
them.
advertise it that much unless you're getting a new watch.
Because I think that's what you're supposed to do. I don't think you go like I know when I was running Youth Emergency Shelter, and the Eagles, Michael Vick, Deshaun Jackson, they would come down and they would take the kids on a shopping spree at Walmart. We used to go to Walmart out on Delaware Avenue, and they would take the kids in there and they would have a shopping spree.
Not to say that, you know what I do? I used to see a lot when I was growing up. I don't really see it that much anymore. NBA cares. You remember that was that whole they would also had that kind of program where they are doing different various community service things. I haven't seen that in a while.
I think they do it differently because they have the man of the year. So they think on it because they had a man of the year. But like Brandon Graham, Jalen Hurst, gave 100 air conditioners in the schools in Philly. So that's guys. And then there's guys who do nothing. But there are guys doing stuff, man. And so money is highlighted their good qualities. Like I look at Jalen Hurts, from what I see, he's still the same dude.
He definitely got money though.
But he's still the same dude. Now, I look at Embiid. Embiid's still country. He making all that money, but he still act like, So, I mean, what's different?
Yeah, you look at Giannis, all that money, he'll take anything that is free. You look at LeBron James, same thing.
But see, those guys want to change the world, man. And I think when you want to change the world, God blesses you.
Yeah.
I think some of those other guys just want to, they want to change themselves. Like look at Embiid. I don't want to get into this deep conversation. He signs his contract, and the next day he announces he's not going to play in back-to-back games. That's dumb.
Yeah, it's like, bro, you already knew that.
But you didn't have to announce that.
Yeah, it's a weird generation. People
talk because he got money, and then what did he say? What did he say with his money? Philadelphia should be ashamed of themselves. And I'm paraphrasing here because he said, after all I've done for them, he's done nothing. You don't win no championship, man. What are you talking about? You don't play as hard as Allen Iverson. You're not as accomplished as Julius Erving. So tell me what you've done. But
he has one MVP.
But he got money. And MVP is a single award. But it was like, so for him, it was like, hey, look what I've done for you. So again, money, because he wasn't like that when we first came to the league. He was humble and everything, but now he got money.
Now, as the last question, as we kind of wrap it up here, you did speak of the $84 million. Is there a certain thing, positive wise, if you did have, that amount of money to give back to the community?
Foundation. I'm probably going to start a school. Yep. I'm probably going to start a school. And based on integrity, character, education, accountability, and faith. I'm definitely probably going to start a school, man, make sure that's funded. And I will start a foundation. And one thing, it's funny because I've always knew it, and I kind of started Toy Store around the sense, but I've met more people in the last couple of weeks, man, who just about to get put out, don't have food, and you pass them every day. You wouldn't know because they're clean. You see them every day, but I've met so many people, and it's crazy. It's crazy, man. So I would start my school, based on character, education, integrity, accountability, and faith. I would have that, and then I would have a foundation, man. And the foundation would be broken up, man. It would be, help kids, towards college. Help families in need. I would definitely, with that money, I would invest in some housing. I think you could do short-term housing, man, and they could come and stay in a nice place for X amount of time and help them develop a plan so they can move on, to purchase, buy their own house. Yeah.
I like that.
They would come and they would come and you would have training for them, someplace they could work and get some training, build up some money. Somebody work with them with their finances, how to handle finances, how to save, first-time home buyers program, help them with their credit, and they would graduate and move on.
So you've thought about this before, obviously.
Not really. You said it just came up because there's things that there's always something that I'll sit around and say, man, but I see a need. If I had the money, I would do. Like I never thought about having a school till somebody brought it up about about a month ago.
Out of school art.
They was like, dude, you said, yeah, but I mean, if I look at what's happening in public school, it's needed. You know, it's
Linda McMahon, you know.
yeah, well, I don't get into politics, man. We ain't gonna get into politics. The politics is definitely different, man. But again, another great episode of Average Black Men. You know, Chris should be back next week.
Shout out to Chris. They'll have fun.
So again, Happy New Year to those of you who haven't been here before, and hey, have a great year. Have a great year.
And remember, we're here to empower, inspire, and uplift the community. And like, follow, subscribe, share, comment, interact with us. You got a topic? You got a guest? Let us know. A Squared BM, all platforms.
And we will see you next week.